What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 86. As you can see, Matt and I not together. Matt's in Kazakhstan. Matt, give us the update about Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan. Where do I start? Do you want to jump into wrestling, or do you want to jump into all?
Tell me about your experience. Have you found Borat?
I've been searching for Borat. I've been asking everybody. They're like, "What are you here for?" People assume it's wrestling. It's like, "Where's Borat?" I need to find him.
So I haven't been to Kazakhstan, but I'm
on a pilgrimage to see Borat.
Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan, and they said if you go to Kazakhstan and you ask for Borat, that's like a racial slur. Like they hate that movie. They hate it. They can't stand it.
So anyways, trip started out good. Got here, 3-4 days ago, I think, and got here at midnight. Wasn't sure how to navigate the city, flying blind a little bit.
By yourself?
Took probably by myself, flying solo over here. So probably not the best choice, because I read about this online. They're like, take a traditional cab. Don't do like an Uber over here. You never know, because it's always going to try and rip you off. Yeah. Anyways, I made the bad decision right from the get-go. Took one of the sketchy cabs.
Oh, you got in the sketchy cab.
Great. I found a Snyderman fan. The first thing when I got over here, this guy,
the cab
he saw
driver?
my RUDIS stuff, and he was like, Kyle Snyder? I was like, yes, Snyderman. And so we had a great conversation. But then
this is the cab driver, or some guy in the
cab
airport?
driver.
He loves Kyle Snyder.
Yeah, no, the cab driver.
Taxi drivers in Kazakhstan love Kyle Snyder. That's a story right there.
Love Kyle Snyder.
Wow.
So I gave him some Kyle Snyder gear.
And he still jacked you?
Yeah. No, that wasn't the guy. He set the bar. He set the bar.
Oh, different guy.
For taxi drivers, and it's gradually gone downhill.
Oh, got it.
To the point yesterday, like, the thing about the taxi drivers over here is there's no meter on the cab that you can track how much they're billing you. They just throw out a random rate.
Yeah.
See if they can take advantage of you.
So what's the exchange rate over there?
Yes.
Well, what is the form of currency?
It's is it the Tenge? I think I'm pronouncing that.
I'm gonna Google
the right way. The Tenge. So it is, the conversion rate is $1 equals roughly 380 Tenge.
Oh, there we go. So you get some good exchange rate.
Yeah. So yesterday on the way back after yesterday's sessions, this guy tried to charge me 4 times the amount that I'd been charged on every previous trip over to the arena. And, obviously he's trying to take advantage of me. He thinks I'm a soft American that's going to get pushed over. So
sure.
I hope my mom's not listening to this, because I had to introduce some international language that crosses all boundaries.
That's funny.
And he got the message, so I just passed him some money, walked out of the cabin, and said, "See you later."
The Tenge has been significantly devalued, Matt. 10 years ago, it was $1 to roughly 150 Tenge.
Really?
Yeah.
So double. Wow.
Couple spikes. Yeah, a couple big spikes in there. Okay, so.
But Nur Sultan it's a beautiful city. It's really clean. There's a lot of expansion going on.
Nice.
We're right where the Barry's Arena is. It looks like where all the athletic facilities are, all the professional sports complexes. I think there's like 4 or 5 arenas and stadiums right in close proximity to each other. So it's easy to navigate around here. People are friendly. People are excited. I mean, you know how wrestling is. It just kind of unifies people. And, just standing in line, getting tickets. How full is the arena?
Because I've seen a few pictures that look not very full, and then I saw one today that I was like, wow, actually looks kind of full. What does it look like?
Well, today it made the logical jump. The first 4 days of competition, 5 days were Greco and women. Yeah. So you saw a huge jump today in the attendance. I bet it like quadrupled in size today, the attendance.
Yeah, wow.
And I think it's just going to gain steam here from there, because there was only 2 freestyle weights going on today, 2 men's freestyle weights, and then tomorrow and the following 2 days will be 4 a day. So, but yeah, cool arena, great venue. Yeah.
Nice. Okay,
but
so
it is interesting. It is interesting that over here they have concession stands everywhere, but they don't let you bring any food or drink into the arena. Because I think they're used to like rowdy hockey games because it's a hockey arena and people throw stuff on the ice all the time.
Oh, so actually you mean in the seating area?
Yeah, you can't bring it in.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
So you have to stand in the hallway?
Yeah.
Wow, bizarre. Interesting. Okay, so let's go to the wrestling. Let's just go through this. Greco, I think you and I are not really huge fans of Greco. The United States struggles immensely in Greco. We go 0 for 10, not one medal for the United States. And I don't really know much more about it besides we did terrible. You want to comment on that?
I mean, I don't. I mean, we've kind of talked offline about this. I don't know because we've had success. I think people forget we've actually won
in 2006.
Yeah, we won the world championships just over a decade ago, but I don't know. I mean, I know we have some obvious hardships.
Yeah.
As opposed to the rest of the world, just because it's not a traditional form of wrestling that a lot of people are exposed to or people shy away from, which I actually disagree with. I think anything you do, any form of wrestling, can make you much more well-versed and more rounded. So I think kids at a young age should at least expose themselves. I don't think they have to concentrate on it, but at least exposing yourself, you're gonna learn, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna grow and figure out new aspects of the sport. But obviously, we don't get the level of talent that we have on the women's side or the men's freestyle side. But knowing that we've had success in the past, like I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah,
like, do you have any thoughts?
I don't have a lot, but the one comment I made to you is we have had a few people have age-level success, Kamal Bay being one, D'Angelo Hancock being another, who've had age-level, right, cadet and junior success, and that's not translating at all to the senior level. And obviously this year we commented that Junior Greco had 3 world medals, which is, the most in a while. So it'll be interesting to see if any of that translates to senior level success. Because it's not, but, that argument, like with Kamal Bay was the best guy freestyle or Greco at that weight class in his senior class. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the best guy, and he chose Greco exclusively, and he went and did it. And he's not really having any more success. Mason Manville, another one who was good in freestyle or Greco, who still wrestles Greco, not having any senior level success. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, but I did notice that obviously there's nothing translating there.
It just seems like for whatever reason, and all the guys you mentioned, they don't lack talent, right? I mean, It's obvious what their skill level is. It's just kind of probably frustrating that we haven't seen the level of development and progression that you would naturally see. And I don't know what your thoughts on what the gap is or what's the disconnect between junior level success and translating that into senior level success. I know I'd
have to be in the practice room. I'd have to study it to really feel comfortable making any kind of real comment on that. Okay, do you want to transition to women's?
Yeah.
All right, Matt. So the women, obviously not all the way done yet. Tamyra Mensah Stock is just hammer smashing everybody. It was awesome. But we've got 2 world champions. We've got Adeline Gray. We've got Jakara Winchester. Some other not so great performances, really. So I think this women's performance is really split because you have some obviously really outstanding performances, and then you have some girls who I think we thought were going to do really well who struggled. I mean, a couple of the girls were, I think 2 or 3 were 1 and out. I have to get. Let me jog my memory. But what are the feelings over there?
Yeah, they had all, for the most part, the entire team had a pretty high level of success throughout the year.
Yeah. Leading
up to the World Championships, we had a lot of high seeds. We had some number 1 seeds. But I think, you've been through this, Ben. You've wrestled here. You've wrestled in the Olympics. Like, just because you've placed, I think, take for Sarah. Sarah, for example.
Yeah, her path was tough.
There was only one other girl that medaled this year from the previous year.
That's crazy.
It's just
that's wild.
I mean, there's no margin of error. You understand this.
Yes.
There's no margin of error. It just nothing's guaranteed. unless you're just a freak of nature like a Jordan Burroughs, who's so head and shoulders, or at one point was so head and shoulders above the rest of the field. Like, it didn't matter what the draw, what the environment was, he was going to find a way to overcome. But for the most part, there's so much parity at this level and so little margin of error that, so many things factor into it. Like, and I don't want to make excuses for Sarah, and I know she wouldn't want me to do it for her, but unfortunately she wasn't physically at her best. I mean, she's dealing with a number of things that she doesn't want to talk about, and that's why she's great. She's like, hey, this is the reality of this situation, so I got to deal with it. But she wasn't 100%. And if you're, at this level, if you're at 95%, that can be the tipping point between success and failure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even just a little bit of.
But it was obviously disappointing. But also on I think yesterday there was a 10-minute window that I think people are probably going to associate with the team's performance. There was a 10-minute window where, we got pinned twice and then Sarah got beat.
Yeah, that was
so that's just kind of like, people assume like, oh, we just performed horrifically, but we're in a position where we can win 3 world titles, and I don't think we've ever done that before in our country's history. So
I was curious about that there, because there could be definitely 3. But the other one that happened yesterday was, and then she and coming back and kind of got crushed today in the 5th place match, or the 3rd place match, was Forrest Molinari was really close to making the finals. I mean, and she had a good match. The girl from Sweden's really good. She had a win over her. And I mean, the match was all but hers in the semis, and she gives up a exposure in the last, I don't know, what was it, 10 seconds ish to lose that match. She was pissed. That was one where track doesn't have announcers. I'm paying for this effing stream, Matt, and I can't get an announcer telling me what's going on. I'm trying to figure out what.
I thought they were going to have a live team with like Andy Robat and one other guy.
Well, I'm not watching a lot of them live because I'm sleeping during the middle of the night. But when I wake up and I watch the matches, I'm not hearing any announcing. My volume's on. I don't hear announcing. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I just click play the video. I watch the video. There's no announcing. So I couldn't figure out what she was mad about, because I thought it was very clear that she did expose her back. But, she was essentially 10 seconds away from World Finals also. So that would have been 4 in the World Finals, which would have been huge for the women's team. But then, like you said, Allie Reagan got pinned in her first match. Whitney Connor lost her first match fairly convincingly, and then Jenna Burkett also, just went 1-1. 3 people who I think would have, I don't know if they were expected to win, but they were expected to have a reasonable amount of success, and they didn't.
I think the takeaway probably on the women's side, the disappointing side of it, is that we didn't qualify. We've only qualified 3 weights for the tournament, for the Olympics.
Okay, so what are, Matt, I don't know, what are the women's Olympic categories? I was actually just going to look this up.
Okay, so, shoot.
I know Sarah's is 1, which is 53.
So you have 50, 53.
50, okay.
57.
Okay, so
right?
So Jakara Winchester's got a world champion, but she's got to pick where she's going to go. And we might have Helen coming back also. Maybe. Yeah,
the word, and people are talking about Helen actually dropping down to 53.
Yeah.
Next year, I think that's kind of the conversation that's been being shared by a number of people. But yeah, I don't know where she's at physically. I think, and what I've heard is she's continuing to deal with the head trauma issues.
That's crazy.
Which is
that's
scary in and of itself.
So
that's
scary. I'd be calling it a day, bro.
But there was, without a doubt, Ben.
Wait, I'm sorry, finish this. 50, 53, 57, so that means 59. 50, 53, 57, probably 62?
62,
68, 76?
68, and then 76.
So obviously we have world champion at 76, Adeline, who will be going for her second Olympic title. We have Tamyra Mensah, who's in the final, so she's qualified for that weight. 62. So I guess Kayla could or is she going to wrestle back or no, Matt?
No, she didn't get pulled back in.
Okay, so that weight is not qualified.
And that's probably the disappointing part, right? Is that we we've been talking about projecting out who's going to go up and down and when they're going to go up and down to the Olympic weight. But by and large, in the women's tournament, everybody went down to the Olympic weight. Specifically, Japan went down. And why they did that, in Japan, if you medal at the World Championships this year, you're automatically on the Olympic team, which is different than most other countries. So all the Japanese women made that weight cut this year.
So all of their best girls went to the Olympic weight classes. Is that what you're saying?
Like the Japanese girl at 53 at Sarah's weight, she was actually the world champ last year, but that's a non-Olympic weight, so she went down to 53.
She was the champ at 55, you're saying, last year?
She was 55, went down to 53 this year.
Wow. Wild. Okay.
We're seeing that a little bit on the men's freestyle side of things, but in the women, it was everybody. The Olympic weights were absolutely stacked and loaded.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're Japan and you give that type of incentive, you're going to find a lot of people. Damn, she crushed everyone at 55 last year.
Yeah, and she did the same thing at 53. I mean, she is really, really good.
Wow.
I mean, really good. And so I think it was, I mean, they were absolutely stacked, loaded, and
so then
there was nowhere to hide.
The women have the same qualifying process as the men, where now they're going to have to go to essentially the Pan Ams, and then there's the 2 last chance qualifiers, correct?
Right. So we got some work to do. It'll be interesting to see how they lay out, because obviously the Olympic trials really don't matter at this point. It's all about qualifying all the weights for next year.
That's what's crazy. We're talking about Dayton, obviously, in a minute, but these girls too is the Pan Ams and the Olympic trials qualifier are 2 weeks apart, and so it's so crazy because you're obviously saying, well, I don't want to travel to, where's the Pan Ams next year? I don't know. You don't know, probably.
Sure.
It's somewhere, right? I don't want to travel. I mean, if Dayton's going to wrestle the NCAAs, it's impossible because the NCAAs is the same weekend as the Pan Ams. He can't even do that, right?
He can't do it.
So he's got to say either I'm going to qualify this weight for America, or I'm trusting the fact that someone else will qualify this weight for America, and that is scary.
I mean, if it was you, what would you do in that position?
It's so tough because I feel like it's essentially you're giving your opponents a leg up. The fact that you're going to make weight 2 weeks ahead of time, you're flying somewhere most likely fairly far away, eating food that you're not normally eat. You know, it's just like you're doing a whole bunch of things. I mean, I probably would want it resting in my own hands, but then I am giving my opponents an advantage that I don't really want them to have, and they're going to have it.
Yeah.
So it sucks.
But, bottom line is, I'm sure if you had the choice, you would want it in your hands. You wouldn't want it in somebody else's, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. Mm-hmm. But it still sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, really sucks. And we're in that position not only in the majority of all of the Greco weights,
all
right?
All the Greco weights, yep.
The majority of the women's weights now, and so far two of the freestyle weights. So I think sometimes people use that perspective, like, really, I think tier 1 of the goal system for the world championships, qualify the weight class, right? Qualify the weight class for the Olympics, and the bonus would be if you medal after that. Obviously we want guys to medal, but the first priority is qualify all weights for the Olympics this year. Right now at the world championships, we haven't done that.
Matt, I wonder if it's do other countries have their trials process so close to when the qualification is? Because I would almost say, move it up, move the trials, move the team up, make the team, and then give them 2 or 3 shots at qualifying the weight. Right? Don't have someone try to qualify the weight and then have them go wrestle and try to make the team a couple weeks later. Right?
I mean, if you're going to be the guy that the USA Wrestling designates that you're the guy that's going to go qualify the weight, there should be some concessions made for him. It's not like he's sacrificing. Obviously, he wants to be the guy. If you're the guy, like, I want to qualify the weight myself, but I can't sacrifice this. I can't sacrifice my individual goals for the country, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully there would be some concessions that they make if whoever is designated to go qualify the weight, and they actually, I think if they are designated to qualify the weight and they actually qualify the weight, I think there should be some favorable decisions made on their behalf about when they can compete. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like, wasn't it in 2012 when it was 60 kgs, wasn't it something like that? Because I remember they ended up doing the final rest off and beat the streets. Do you remember that?
I believe so.
So there was some concession on the dates there. Yeah,
that was Coleman, right? Was that Coleman?
Yeah, Coleman beat Sean Bunch.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah. So I haven't thought deeply through this, but it just seems as though the solution they have right now is not the best solution. There can be a much better solution. We just would have to kind of talk through it and figure out what it's going to be. But it seems like there could be something that's way more equitable for everybody, as far as qualifying the weights and then qualifying for the team also.
Well, I think I think probably USA Wrestling walked into this competition with the best laid plans, hoping it would play out accordingly. And then you have to adapt out after the fact. But I'm sure walking in there, we're like, okay, we're qualifying all 6 weights at this tournament, and we're not going to have to worry about this. Now they have to, I'm sure they've had discussions about backup plans, but you never know what's going to happen, right? Like when is David Taylor going to be healthy enough to wrestle again?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so you move the trials up for him.
Yeah. Is he the guy that you want to give the opportunity to qualify the weight if it's unknown how healthy he actually is? Yeah. Or do you put Downey in there, Nickel in there? JD Cox Downey. Maybe is going down to 86. So it's going to, I mean, there's got to be, the way things played out in day one, there's a ton of balls in the air about the decision-making process, about just now qualifying the weight is the priority at least at 57 and 65. We'll see how the next couple days play out.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, any more thoughts? I guess we were talking about women's wrestling. We got kind of distracted to the qualifying process. Any more thoughts on the women's side?
I do want to give, and again, this is Tamyra Mensah Stock throttled everybody, Ben.
They said the one girl they said the one girl had not lost since 2015, Matt. What was her name? Tosha. What was her name?
Tosha? Yep. Since 2015. Defending Olympic champ.
I said Tosho. She smashed her.
Throttled her 10-1. I mean, she is just rolling through people right now. I really think, like I was talking with Jesse just a couple minutes ago, and I'm like, if she puts on another dominant performance, she should be the OW. I mean, she is like, she set the crowd on fire, and it's disappointing to see that after they wrestled the men's semifinals first, and then they, all of the Kazakhstan people kind of left the arena. I mean, there were still some people in there, but like, you missed an amazing performance. One of the most dominant performances of all categories, of all styles. I mean, she is rolling right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is 68. We talked about is an Olympic weight, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So she's going to be in a good spot come next year. She's got the Swedish girl, Franson. I never heard of her before. What do you know about her? Anything?
I mean, you got to feel good after what she did today, especially against the defending Olympic and world champ who hadn't been beaten in 3.
Franson won 1-1, 6-5, 9-7 through super close matches. Wow, crazy. Okay, let's hit up these men's weights. Matt, I will tell you, I was sleeping during the competition. I woke up, I watched probably 9 or 10 matches this morning, and I saw 3 or 4 screw jobs. That's why I can't stand freestyle wrestling. It drives me insane. It's maddening to me to see these refs get so involved. And I think, we'll talk about when you disagree with, but I think the most obvious one was Barang versus I don't even know his name. He's the local kid. He's from Kazakhstan. Matt, I might do a RUDIS technique breakdown on that situation, but if you know anything about wrestling, the guy's head and arm were buried. He's got a head pinch, and the guy had he did have his hand like in Barang's crotch-ish area, right? Kind of upper leg. There is no way that guy can lift and turn Barang over to his back from there. It is physically impossible. Barang was the one doing the action with the dump. He should have got the 4 points. The 4 points went the other direction. That's an 8-point swing. That determines the match. Barang gets screwed and the local boy wins.
And there's a reality of politics in this game, right? That some people, the people that are purist in the sport need to understand at this level, there is a reality of politics in play. Yeah. And I'm not making accusations, but we've seen it. We've observed it.
It's been proven.
Yeah, but there was no doubt Bajrang did a head pinch, changed the direction of the action, and that's what you really look for, right? Like,
well, he had him in the head pinch the whole time, and the guy kind of makes one little reach for his crotch, and that was, I think, Bajrang probably felt, okay, now he's out of position enough for me to throw him, and the guy kind of bends at a weird angle as he falls, but he still fell to his damn back. It's ridiculous.
Feet to back. He changed direction. It was a face lock. He changed the direction of the move.
It was absurd.
That's cut and dry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's actually a 9-point swing because it's actually a 9-point swing because it's 4-4 and then the one for the challenge also. And 9. That's almost a 10 fall.
Yeah.
9.
And this is what we've talked about. What's so frustrating at this level is that these officials, they officiate to the letter of the law and they don't understand wrestling positions. Yeah. So if you have no real understanding of wrestling and you observe that position with Bajrang, you would say, I could see how they scored it for the other guy if you don't understand wrestling and if you're just trying to call it by the letter of the law. But if you understand wrestling, he clearly changed the direction of the move and gained exposure, feet to back. I mean, that should have been 4 for Bajrang, no question. I mean, I think
no question.
Everybody in the arena saw that.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to Dayton's match then. Dayton wins the easy first one. Second one. I'll just set the stage. He loses 4-2, of which he got the only takedown. He gave up 2 shot clock points. He gave up a phantom push-out point, and then a 1-point challenge because they challenged the phantom push-out. I watched that, Matt. I thought it was fairly clear. You're in the arena, but I thought it was fairly clear he did not step out of bounds. Absolutely not.
Ben, I was on the other side of the arena, and you could tell he didn't step out of bounds.
There wasn't even that close.
I was 50 yards away, and you could tell only his heel went out of bounds. And
it's got to be the whole foot.
The full front. Yeah. It was, and for them not to overturn that on the challenge,
they got to watch it 20 times.
Clear cut.
How did they not overturn that, Matt?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You almost want some level of accountability and interpretation from UWW. We have it on all other levels of sports, right? Absolutely. There's so much technology involved. The margin of error to make a mistake is very minimal at this point with the technology we have at our disposal. And Ben, there's a 50-foot big screen TV that the entire arena can see. You can clearly see his foot didn't go out of bounds,
and they still wouldn't change it.
It wouldn't change it.
Man, that's what I go back to one line I hated. I hated this line in the Kerry Collette documentary. There was this one line where Bruce Burnett says, Kerry fell on the sword for everybody. And Kerry got screwed. There's no doubt about that. But the thought process that him getting screwed actually changed it. They still screw people. This is 2019. We got people watching this. We got the replay on the big screen like you're talking about. Everyone in the crowd can see that this call is wrong. And they still don't change it. It's insanity.
And the bottom line is, in the crowd, you have all levels of engagement, from the purist that are into it and understand everybody else to the casual Kazakhstan fan that's just coming out to support their country. And they explain the basic rules of engagement for freestyle. The whole crowd, there was 5,000 people in the stands today. 5,000 people knew that was a mistake, and 3 people screwed it up. The 3 officials, everybody else could see it. Even the most unknowledgeable fans understood you didn't step out of bounds.
But was he not out of bounds?
He wasn't out of bounds.
He wasn't out of bounds. It's ridiculous.
Black and white. It's clear cut.
So that's why I hate that. I hate that line from the documentary on Flow, because obviously things are still the way they are, and they have been that way for a while. And I hope to travel to World Championships in the future. So I hope to not say anything too crazy where I'm in danger here, Matt. But a lot of those old Soviet countries, they think like that's just how it is. You're supposed to cheat and screw people if you have the opportunity to.
Yeah, I mean most of these foreign countries, it's difficult for us to understand that a lot of countries think if you're not cheating, you're not really trying to win.
Yes, that's right? It, Matt. Totally.
And I know if we just go back to the Bajrang match, there was some subjectivity in that position, which I kind of get with the officials, but a step out is black and white. Either your foot is out of bounds, or it's partially inbounds, or fully inbounds. That's a black and white. There's no subjectivity to that. How do you screw that up?
It's very, very, very difficult to screw up, yes. Oh, man. That was so annoying. All right, let's talk about Zayn, which is not all that much more of a bright subject. Hey, Stevan Mitric almost beat the world number 1, P.S.
He had it.
Let's get him back in America. Can we get him back in USA singlet?
We need to. I mean,
forget Serbia.
Some people may forget that he actually won an age group world medal for America.
He beat Dayton.
He's competed for the United States. Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, I was texting you and I had to stop the text because I'm like, hey, we're going to have an American in the semifinals. Unfortunately, he's not wrestling for America. And then right at the end of the match, he's changed. But
dang. Okay. And Malik Amin won the first ever match for San Marino. He actually won 2 matches. He beat Guinea-Bissau and he beat Mexico before he got worked over by Musakayev. Rutherford loses 10-9 to Valdez Tobier. I thought there was a few questionable.
6 points right off the bat.
Yeah, takedown, gut. But I thought there was a few questionable calls, man. I actually thought Zayn kind of got a benefit of the doubt on one of them where Valdez Tobier, head pinched him and takes him through, and Zayn kind of held him, but he did enough to get the 2-2. And then at the end there was the really it was a very similar position as to Zayn and Yanni, where at the final X we were also pissed because they went just 2 to Zayn. Originally they said 2-2. This one goes 2-2, and I was kind of waiting for the block because that was essentially the match, right? So I was waiting for the block to come from the American corner because it was the end of the match. Might as well throw it. If you don't get it, you lose anyways. What's the point?
Yeah, I mean they didn't have a choice. You kind of had to do that. I mean it's. I don't know what it is, but it seems like by and large we struggle from the head pinch position on how to defend that. And I mean that was the Cubans go-to position. I mean that's where he scored a lot of his points, and he either stalemated the position or he scored. But yeah, I really thought that Zayn's pace, it seemed like every time he started gaining back momentum, he got head pinched or got put in a compromising position where he couldn't finish cleanly against the Cuban. And I mean, what I didn't want to hear is all these people jumping on the bandwagon and saying, oh, Yanni this or Yanni that. And it's well documented how much we love Yanni and appreciate his talent. But you got to give Zayn respect.
Yes.
He made the team. He made the team. Yep. And in an in a difficult situation that really prolonged, that's difficult. He didn't know he was on the world team until 2 weeks ago, basically.
Yeah.
And then he's got to refocus on the rest of the world because, as much as he said, I've been preparing for the world championships all along, he was preparing for Yanni.
Yeah.
He wasn't preparing for the world.
Absolutely. Yep. Agreed 100%. Oh, man. Gwiazdowski's going to have Iran second round. I just realized that. That's a tough draw right there, dog. Really tough. That's a tough one.
We got a number of tough draws again.
Oh, and then you got the Russian after that.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe how small.
And he's got Petrashvili, right, in the semis if he makes it that far. Quiz.
That's quite the tough draw. What was I say? Oh, 92. I can't believe how few people are at 92. Like when you compare them to the size of, say, 65 had almost 50 people in it. I mean, it was a really large bracket, and then when you compare the size of that bracket to the size of 92, it's crazy. 92's got like 16 guys in it, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean that happened.
Burroughs is a 3 seed. How can he have that bad of a draw? Or he's a 2 seed. So to bring this up, Matt. Well, if the 2 seed and the 3 seed are always going to the 2 and 3 are almost worse than the 4, right? Because unbalanced brackets, the bottom of the bracket, if there's 48, so to explain to people how this works, because it is partial insanity, so it'll be hard to explain. If there's 32 people, it will be 16 and 16. But then everything above 32, they just add to the bottom. All the way till you get to 48, Matt. So you could end up with 16 up here and 32 down here. Now, just statistically speaking, if you have 16 up here and you have 32 down here, you're twice as likely to have good people down here, right? And that's kind of what happens in this bracket with Burroughs.
Yeah. So on one side of the bracket, the guys possibly, before facing the other side of the bracket, could have 1 or 2 less matches than the other side of the bracket, right?
Yeah.
And that's a huge advantage.
Huge advantage. Especially when you're twice as twice as likely. It's not like you got to be of these 32. I have 32 and 16, which I don't know exactly what the number breakdown is, but obviously just the fact there's more people doesn't matter, but there's double the chance for good people. So by the time you get to the 2 rounds in and 3 rounds in, the good people are going to work their way through the bracket, and you're going to have to wrestle more good people every single round than the top side. So
with JB specifically on his bottom half, I mean, he's got he's got world medal winners, multiple time medal winners. He's got Franklin Gomez, world silver medalist, who he had a scrap with a couple months ago.
Franklin's got Bexod first round.
He's got Bexod. Bexod actually teched.
Well, what he's not going to beat both of them. He's not going to beat both of them, right? He'll only beat one of them because they wrestle.
But I'm just saying.
Sure, yeah.
The quality of on the bottom half of that bracket on the opposite side, like it's insane.
Yeah, I'm looking through Flo's rankings right now. Okay, so Nurakov, who he's going to have first round, is the 13th ranked guy. So that's a tough match right off the bat. And then he's likely to have how about Neston Tafur? Remember him from Boston? He's wrestling for Columbia.
Nestor, huge win a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, who did he beat? I can't even recall. It was someone good though.
I'm trying to remember. It was one of the best guys in the world. I'm blanking here, but.
So I don't see Matt. I don't see the his Burroughs match after that will probably be Hungary or Bulgaria. I don't see either one of those guys as ranked, so that match shouldn't be quite as tough. Although again, I don't know if Flo's rankings are perfect. I'm going off Flo's rankings. They're more experts. But then after that, you got Cuba versus Iran first round. You got Gomez versus Akhturrahmanov. You got Turkey in there. You got India in there. You got Azerbaijan in there. So he'll have someone from that group right there. And then that is just to make the semifinals. And then if he does that, he'll likely have Sidakov in the semifinals. So That's a long day right there.
Long day. Long day. You hope. And at this point in JB's career, I think he's a little more reliant on everything going right for him. And I think that's natural. The more this is 10 years. I mean,
yep.
yeah, the more you go, like, you have much less margin of error.
Yeah.
And so I think his weight cut's got to be right. His warm-up's got to be right. His execution plan has to be dialed in. You got to make quick adjustments in between rounds about who you're facing, because you don't know. Like, you got, like, case in point, you said Bexad and Gomez. You got, a world silver medalist and a multiple-time bronze medalist. Like, who are you going to adapt for? You don't know who's coming out of that. And you gotta make a split-second reaction on your execution plan within less than a half an hour about how you're going to go out and compete in this match. So, I mean, there's a lot more than just going out and competing in a match. I mean, behind the scenes, I mean, there's planning, strategy, execution
and
plans.
Matt, when we were talking about having tough matches earlier, I mean, it's a lot different than having freaking Venezuela or American Samoa, or let me pull some of these other easy countries out of here, right? Lithuania, Nigeria. Someone you can just go through 10-0, right? You go 10-0, get a nice little warm up in, you get your shoulders warm, right? That Nurikov, Belarus, he's going to have to battle him right off the bat. I mean, there's a big difference. If you start putting those back to back to back, they do take quite a bit off you.
Without a doubt. And I mean, that's got to be, JB's always been in phenomenal shape, but when you have to wrestle, what is he in position? 4 or 5 matches tomorrow? 4?
So he has the bye first round, then he's got round of 32, round of 16, round of 8, round of 4. So he'll have a bye, and then he'll have 4 matches.
Yeah,
luckily he's got that bye. That's nice that he gets that. Otherwise, he'd have 5 matches tomorrow.
Yeah, so it gives him, with that bye, it gets him a little extra recovery time between weigh-ins, which could be critical. And then you've got to think they've got to be talking, hey, if you can get off the mat quick, get off the mat quick. Don't just try and win the match. Obviously, that's the objective. But if you can get through this and you can end it quickly, try and get out there, get after it, get off the mat, conserve your energy.
Yes. And you know what? I mean, you're talking about Burroughs wanting everything to go right, but part of me says, and I know this because I'm a little bit slow, when people start slowing down a little bit, that's kind of really good for Jordan Burroughs. And so, especially some of these foreign guys like the Azerbaijan guy or the Turkey guy, they have to do 4 matches before they get to Burroughs. Right? So they're not going to be feeling 100% either. They'll be slowing down. We know cardio is not their specialty, none of their specialties. So that, I think that's going to affect them equally, or maybe even worse, possibly.
And it's maybe one of those situations because it's well known Jordan's a finisher, right?
Yes.
You better create some space and a gap before you get to the second period, because he's going to pile on in the second period. But I would think, at least in the earlier rounds, like, hey, we got to get off to a fast start.
Yes.
Like, we got to get off as quickly as possible, expend as least amount of energy as we possibly can. So don't wait to get in the flow of the match and just waste, meaningless energy in that first 3 minutes. Like, those minutes are critical. Yes. Those seconds are critical.
Absolutely. Okay, Matt, so you and I are back tomorrow. Hopefully you can find some good food between now and then.
Hey, we missed one thing.
What we missed?
We didn't talk about the rest of 65. That weight class, Ben.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about Aliyah Rashidov that you wanted to bust my balls about.
Aliyah Rashidov. Holy crap.
Well, we did talk about Barang and, what is his name? Nizai Bekov? Bekov? We talked about that. Yeah, that weight class is insanity. And man, Rashidov really handled Odaguru too, which I was a big fan of Odaguru from his performance last year. Yeah, they got Kinshin Javili. He lost to Musakayev. Musakayev lost to Rashidov. Yeah, I mean that whole bottom side was wild.
I mean, think about these first 2 matches. Rashidov beats 3 times. He's bumping up a weight. He was down at 61 kilos last year, runner-up in the world.
But bumps up to
65. First round match against Aliyah, 3-time world champ. Crazy match.
Okay, so let's go over that. Let's go over that last scenario, Matt, because you think we have differing standpoints on. I put that Aliyah got cheated. So here's how I see it. I've had a few other people arguing with me on Twitter. So there's a scenario. Aliyev essentially has his back, is over his shoulder. Rashidov is right here, right? He's driving him towards the edge because Aliyev only needs 1 point. It's 2-2. Or I'm sorry. No, it's 4-2. No, I'm sorry. It's 3-2 because there was a challenge point. So it's 3-2. So he needs the 1 point to win. So I was correct. He's pushing him towards the out of bound where he just needs the 1 point to win. At this point, I think you should see it as Rashidov is under attack at this point, right? Aliyev is attacking him. Rashidov grabs this wrist and tries to hit like a standing Peterson, okay? Which I love. I love a standing Peterson.
Go ahead.
So he ends up on his back, and Aliyev is kind of draped over the side but facing flat down. And so the way I see it, here's how I see it. I see it as like this, Matt. I got an underhook. I do a knee pick, right? You are in imminent danger of getting taken down. So you try a lat drop right on the edge, and I kind of end up on top of you, but not really. And so then, because I didn't really, you did the offense with the lat drop as opposed to me doing the offense with the knee pick, that it was your move, and I shouldn't really get any points for that. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, and I see where you're coming from, and this is where you see it one way, I see it the other way, and this is where I don't want to give the refs a pass, but that was really a subjective position. What I saw, the other thing here, standing Peterson.
Yeah. So the other thing that's really important that you and I both read through the rule book when the Yanni Zane thing was going on. And you know what we can conclusively come by after reading the rule book? There's a lot of effing gray in there. There's a lot of effing gray. So much gray. Yep. Which is why this situation is so difficult.
Now, this is where the way I saw things, and this was a match that I was sitting right in front of.
Oh, okay.
And I actually saw, it was a weird position, number one, because it was chest to back, right?
Yes, he's pushing him. He's like driving him.
If you're going to counter, if you're going to counter a move, you've got to change the direction of the position.
Yeah.
I actually thought Rashidov, even though his back was in Aliyev's chest, he changed the direction of the motion of the move and exposed him. So I thought he actually, even though it was like a lat drop situation, 1 in 100 times you're going to hit a lat drop against a good guy and it
didn't
works.
Get exposed. There was just no points. They just said no points.
But where I thought he reversed the position, but I believe the decision they made was Aliyev's head touched out of bounds first. So it wasn't about exposure, control of action. When you go out of bounds, it goes, foot, hand, head?
Yeah,
his head touched out of bounds.
That's what they went with. Okay, Matt, so listen, I'm over, here's what I'm over here. I don't have an announcer. There's not an announcer on track wrestling. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I thought it was I didn't know what to think. I guess that's what it comes down to. I didn't realize that's what they were saying, that his head touched out first.
Yeah, I think that's what it came down to.
Wow. Okay.
Because they just gave 1 point, so there's no exposure. So
that would change my perspective on it. If I had an announcer, that would be helpful. Track wrestling.
Yeah. So I saw it in the moment, and I thought they made the right call. But again, I could see it going both ways. But then, upon further review, because the position where I was at in the arena, I had a direct line of sight to the mat, but I couldn't see the challenge screen. But I reviewed it tonight, and there's no doubt about it that Aliyev's head definitely touched out of bounds first.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize that's what they were calling it all. Okay, all right, well, that's interesting.
The other insane thing about that, I'm with you. One of my favorite guys after the 2018 World Championships was Odaguro.
Yeah, awesome.
And Shido decimated him.
Crushed him. Just shut him down. Odaguro couldn't get anything.
How many points were last year between Odaguro and Bajrang?
Well, 20. But Bajrang doesn't have good defense. But Bajrang's got sketchy defense. So he's got better offense.
It was like a football. right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rashidov just shut him down. I mean, just locked everything down to where Odaguru couldn't get to any of his offense. And then he got, 8-1 is kind of an excessive score because he got really desperate at the end and gave up a 2 and a 4 at the end. Yeah, but he got shut down. Okay, so that's it, Matt. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. Talking about, we have 4 more men's weights tomorrow, so it should be fun. And hopefully a world champion in Tamyra Mensah Stock.